All right, let's do this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to another Garage Talk. Thank you for being here. Hope everyone's doing well. This will be wrapping up our homeschool series. We've been talking about how to start homeschooling, some misconceptions about homeschooling, talking mostly with Teacher Lena. But tonight we have a very special guest with us. We have the Swedish Compass. Say hello.
Hi, how you doing?
She is a homeschool student. We'll get into that in a second, but first, let's talk about what we're drinking tonight. I'm drinking juice and water, and no cigar, not even on the table again, because we have someone who's not old enough to even look at such a thing. So, Swedish Compass, what are you drinking tonight?
A simple carbonated soda.
What type?
Pepsi.
Pepsi. Wonderful. All right, Swedish Compass. So thank you very much for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, let's start with some very simple questions. How long have you been homeschooled?
13-ish years.
13-ish years. And how old are you?
13.
13, okay. So, what grade are you in?
7th.
7th grade? All right. And what do you really think? How are you liking homeschooling?
Yeah, it's okay. It's got its ups and downs. It can be quite fun at times, learning on your own at your own pace, but sometimes it can get real down.
So let's focus in on some of those fun parts. What are some fun parts of homeschooling?
Well, during the summer you get to it's like summer all the time. You get to see your family all the time, like all year, and you get to learn the way that you want to learn. And during the summer you get to do things like we went to Mackinac Island and Fort Mackinac and Fort Michilimackinac. You do like learning summers, so learning never stops.
Does that get a bit tedious? You're always expected to be learning?
Well, yeah, it does sometimes, but when you don't, it does get fun.
Okay. So, what did you learn when you went to your trip to Fort Mackinac?
We learned about the Revolution and how the British were fighting against the French, and we got to see a bunch of reenactments of how battles would be fought and how guns were fired off. So it's not all math and science and reading all the time.
So it's a lot more than experiential learning, where you, instead of just reading in a book, you actually went out and experienced some of it.
That's right.
Have you guys ever done any other historical experiential learning?
Yes, we do it. We do it pretty much all the time. Like, other than Fort Mackinac and Michilimackinac, Mom and Dad do it a lot in the curriculums that they do.
Okay, can you give us some examples of projects you might have done where it was experiential learning?
Well, this summer we made chairs for the classroom, so we did a bunch of woodworking. I spray painted mine. It brought out my inner punk. It was awesome.
Okay, what other stuff does chairs teach you how to do, building chairs?
It teaches you woodworking. It teaches you how to be safe in the shop. And it brought me closer to my father, so.
Oh, very nice. So you talked about some downs, some drawbacks of being homeschooled. What are some of those?
Well, it's really hard to get to know other children because you're not around them very often. You can only get out of the house like during the weekends, and.
So you're never around children then?
Oh no, there's like attempts to make homeschool groups, but they never really turn out perfectly because you're always busy with what you've got.
Oh, okay. But you have been a part of homeschool groups.
Yeah, I have.
So do you have friends who are only your friends homeschool friends?
Oh no, some of them are public school, but I meet them in like church class, Sunday school, or
Oh, so there's lots of other activities that your parents do to keep you socialized, like churches and.
Yeah.
Is there any other place you socialize with kids?
Other than like random meetings at the park, none that I can really think of.
So you're not involved in any plays or clubs or like art classes or anything like that?
Not unless you want to be.
But if you want to be, that's definitely an option. Your parents don't shelter you inside a house and
not
keep
all
you away
the time.
from people.
I definitely feel like sometimes they're a little overprotective, but
Oh, how are they overprotective?
It's just I think all kids feel this way about their parents when their parents won't let them walk down the street without a friend, or maybe like go to a friend's house without telling them immediately, stuff like that.
Okay. So, have you ever been public schooled?
Nope, not once.
So what's your experience with public school? How do you...
I've always heard horror stories about it from my parents and my friends.
Oh, what are some of the stories your friends have to share about it?
They talk about how boys follow them around and how their teachers, even though they're supposed to be excellent at the stuff they do, are really not very good at what they do.
Okay. Now, is it your mom or dad who homeschools you?
Mom homeschools me during the week, but Dad does a lot of the homeschooling, like practical, experiential stuff during the weekend.
Like what type of stuff?
We do a lot of working in the garage, and one summer we did like an apocalyptic Friday where we pretended that the whole world had turned into the apocalypse, and we did like slingshots, and we shot guns, and we did a lot of cool stuff.
Oh, very fun. Okay. Now, let's talk about your homeschooling day. What do you do when does your day start?
It normally starts at about 10 o'clock-ish after breakfast.
Okay. And what do you do? Do the same subjects? Do you rotate subjects? What happens during your homeschooling day?
Since I have like 4 younger siblings, we normally have it like on Monday, me and my brother start school, and we do our section of school. And then after that, our sisters do their school, and we have to watch the 2 little children. And we just rotate it like that, except on Tuesday it starts with the little sisters, and then on Wednesday it starts with the big kids, and go on and on like that.
Okay. So what subjects do you learn?
We do a lot of Bible studies. We do math, pre-algebra for me and my brother at least, and we do a lot of reading and science.
Okay. So do you ever study history? Is it all that experiential, going to forts and whatnot?
Oh, there's definitely a bunch of textbook learning in there too.
Okay, so you got a good mix of hands-on learning and the actual textbook learning.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite subject then in school?
I personally like best the reading that we do. We normally have some pretty good books.
Okay, what's your favorite author?
This school year that I've been reading so far? What's her name? The person who wrote The Westing Game.
Oh, I don't know that one.
I can't remember her name. It's, what's it called? I can't remember her name. It'll come to me sometime after shooting.
Right. So so she wrote The Westing Game. Is that one of the books you like?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite books.
What's that about?
It's about a guy named Sam Westing. He dies, and he has his heirs come into a room, and he has them read the will. And as he's reading the will, he goes around and he starts what's called the Westing Game. And the Westing Game begins a whole series of events that is a bunch of double crosses between the characters so that they can get the estate and the money that Samuel Westing had when he was alive.
Okay.
They have to find out who murdered Sam Westing.
So I'm assuming you like to read outside of school as well.
Well, yes.
So what authors are your favorite outside of school reads?
Tom Engelberger, J.K. Rowling, and trying to get into J.R.R. Tolkien.
Oh. So Engelberger, what does he write?
He wrote Tales of Origami Yoda. He does a lot of Star Wars stuff.
Oh, so you're a Star Wars fan, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so does your mom ever work in like Star Wars or Harry Potter or Tolkien into your schooling?
Well, one year we did we did themed years. So the year I'm thinking about, Mom did this really cool, we came downstairs after breakfast, and hanging on the wall there was a big Gryffindor banner, and there was at breakfast before we ate, there was little scrolls that told us we had been enlisted into Hogwarts. It was awesome.
Oh, very cool.
Dad even made a bunch of wands for us.
Oh, very neat. Did that make school a little bit better that year?
No, it definitely made it more interesting to wave your wand around at math and at least hope that it makes all the math questions be done.
There you go. So I'm guessing math is not your favorite topic.
Oh, no, not in the slightest.
Okay, why not?
I hate the fact that there's a specific answer you have to get, and if you get anything wrong in the beginning, the end question is wrong.
Oh, okay.
When you're writing or when you're reading, you can change what's going on. You're completely in charge. During the math, you have to follow guidelines, strict rules, or else you won't be able to get the correct answer.
Gotcha. So you prefer more of that abstract instead of the linear, logical thought when it comes to learning.
Yeah.
All right, interesting.
There's more than one way to learn something.
Were you saying math, there's only one way to learn it?
Yeah, in my experience, yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So, you said you study all the core subjects, so how late, you say you don't start till 10, so public school kids usually start around 8, and they're not done till 3, so if you're not started at 10, you're not done till 5, 6 at night?
No, well, it depends. When we have to jump on the computer to do some of our school, some of it is, like, super hard and takes hours, but on good days, the school only takes 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, so you're done by about, 1, 2 o'clock?
1, 2, 3 o'clock, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So now, do your parents force you to homeschool?
No, they've always been very, oh yeah, sure, you can public school if you want, but I'm just gonna keep telling you horror stories about it.
So, are you considering going to public school?
I was thinking about doing it this year, with the whole pandemic thing hopefully being over. I'm kind of hungering for other kids around.
Oh, so is that the only reason you're going to public school, or are there other reasons why you want to go to public?
I think it might help if I got, like, different perspectives of how to do certain things, because when you're homeschooled, you only have 1 or 2 perspectives of how to do something.
Like, what type of something are you talking about? Like,
well, in math, my father is he can write it down, and he can show you how to do it practically. My mother, she writes it down and tries to get you to see what goes on in between the lines. Neither of those work for me.
oh, that still seems like 2 different perspectives, though.
Yes, they're 2 different perspectives from 2 different parents, but still, and you only get 2 different perspectives.
Okay, I see. So, meeting up with friends, getting different perspectives, is there anything else that makes you want to try public schooling next year?
I want to see if those school lunches are really as bad as everyone says.
Oh, okay. So, try to do the adventurous, try something new.
Yeah.
Now, how do you think you're going to do it in public school?
Kids will probably ignore me.
Yeah, why is that?
I just have that look about me.
Mm-hmm. Well, you seem like you're easy to talk to. I'm having a fun time interviewing you here, so I don't know about that, but I guess time will tell. So, all in all, though, it's not because you don't like homeschooling why you want to be public schooled?
No, I like homeschooling fine. I just want to experience it.
Oh, you want to see this? You're more grass is greener on the other side type. You want to see what the other side of the fence is like.
Yeah, it's like the cow.
Okay, you want to stick your head through to see if it truly is a little tastier there in public school. Okay.
Well, if the lunches are as bad, it won't be tasty.
I suppose not.
Se.
I suppose not. Okay. Well, I think that's all my main questions I have. Is there anything parting thoughts you'd like to tell people about? Because we're hoping that people will watch this if they're interested in homeschooling and be able to kind of use this information to determine if it's good for them, good for their kids. So is there any advice you might have for, let's say, parents who were thinking about going into homeschooling that might make it easier for them?
Well, kids like to do things their own way, so don't be pushy. And there's a certain freedom you get to it when you're homeschooling. There's this certain freedom you don't have to think inside the box. You can think outside of it too. You don't necessarily have to do things one way.
Like that experiential learning you guys do a lot of, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess my main advice is don't be pushy. Don't shove don't shove your kids into things they don't want to do, and just kind of explore a bit. It can be fun when you get used to it.
Okay. Now, what advice do you have for maybe the students who are going to be entering into this homeschooling? If they're the student or the child of someone who wants to try homeschooling, what advice do you have for them?
Well, if you've been public schooled a while, then you're in for it, because this is totally different as far as I can tell. But it just it'll give you this feeling like I said, you don't have to think as the way people tell you to. You can do things your own way. And I feel like most kids would enjoy it if they could look past the obvious cons, like not being able to see as many kids, or what's the word? Or not being around so many people, or being around your family all the time. I think most people could like it if they gave it a chance.
Okay. So it's something, though, they might have to try a few times before they really find their groove in it, especially if they're just starting.
Yeah. And kids, go ahead and be as hard on your parents as you want about this.
I don't think we can sanction that. I might have to edit that little comment out. But.
I expect nothing less.
Yes, exactly. Well, good. Well, I wish you luck in your future homeschooling and then public schooling endeavors. We might have to pull you back for an update video in a year and see if you're still loving public school or if you're yearning back to be homeschooled again.
Okay.
So anyway, you guys might have been able to tell this is actually my daughter who is currently being homeschooled. She was gracious enough to volunteer. I did have to bribe her with a pop to come out here into the garage and talk about her experience with homeschooling. I figured it'd be kind of a nice round off this series. We talked to teacher Lena. I got to do my interview where I talked about what it's like to be the significant other of the homeschooling relationship, and we thought we'd end it with the student to get the student's perspective kind of on homeschooling, what it's like, what it's not, the goods, the bads, all stuff you can use to consider if you're trying to contemplate homeschooling your family. So again, hope everyone's doing well, and we will talk to you later.
Bye.